Men need love too, but not always in the way you might imagine. You could be pouring your heart into a man, giving him all your affection, yet still feel him slowly drifting away. Why does that happen? It could be because you're expressing love in the way you want to give it, not in the way he is truly able to receive it. Men want love, but they often feel it differently. This doesn't mean you need to change who you are. Not at all. It means you're gradually building a strong, secure, and lasting connection, one that feels meaningful to both of you. And once you truly understand how men receive affection, the bond you share becomes unshakable. One of the most powerful and foundational elements of this connection is respect. Not just saying, "I respect you," or giving him a friendly pat on the back. For most men, respect is deeply intertwined with how they feel loved. It's the emotional anchor that tells them they matter. If you're looking to build a truly deep relationship with a man, this is the key. Men don't just crave hugs, kisses, or sweet compliments. They want to feel admired. Respect is what allows a man to open his heart. When he feels respected, he knows you value his thoughts, his decisions, and his goals. Even the small things, he does feel seen and appreciated. Without that sense of being valued, even the most loving gestures may fall flat. He may become distant or emotionally closed off, not because he doesn't care, but because something essential is missing. Respect is not just about praise, it's about how you treat him on a daily basis. It means listening to him when he speaks, not interrupting, not brushing off his opinions. It means letting him know his voice matters. Men feel emotions just like women do. They want to be seen for who they truly are, not constantly judged or corrected. When he's opening up about something that matters, let him speak. Be fully present and don't dismiss his thoughts. Show him that you see and appreciate the effort he puts into the relationship. Because when you dismiss his thoughts, even unintentionally, it can gradually erode the respect he needs to feel close to you. And again, respect isn't just about flattery. It's about giving him the space to be himself. A man doesn't want to feel like he has to perform or compete just to be worthy of love. And that leads us into something even more important, where respect becomes more than an action. It becomes a feeling you plant deep in his heart every single day. Following what we discussed earlier, when a man feels truly respected, he begins to open his heart. But when he senses that he's not genuinely valued, the hurt runs deeper than you might imagine. When a man feels like he's constantly being compared to others or worse, that you secretly wish he were someone else, it doesn't just sting. It makes him feel like he'll never be enough. Men carry insecurities too, often buried beneath silence. And when they constantly feel they have to prove their worth, the relationship can quietly become a burden. Respect means accepting him as he is not perfect, but real. It means giving him the space to grow at his own pace without forcing him to become someone he's not. It means believing in his ability to lead when needed and choosing encouragement over constant correction. This naturally connects to something else that runs deep for most men, the need to feel needed. Many men express their desire for respect through actions. Maybe he wants to fix something around the house, give you advice, or take the lead in certain situations. These are quiet gestures, his way of saying, "Let me help you. Let me be your safe place." And when you trust him enough to let him lead sometimes or ask for his input, you're reinforcing his sense of value. You're telling him without needing grand words, "I believe in your strength, your insight, your heart." This doesn't mean you give up your voice or let him make every decision. It simply means you honor his role without constantly doubting or correcting him. When a man feels like his opinion is trusted and meaningful, he feels loved often more deeply than any compliment about his looks. Respect also means seeing him completely, not just the surface, but the layers beneath. It means appreciating his past, his flaws, his battles, and all the things that shaped who he is today. When you respect a man, you're not trying to change or fix him. You see him clearly and still choose to stay. You admire his ambitions, believe in his dreams, and walk beside him while he grows. But if he senses that you only value him for what he gives, his time, his money, his effort, may start to pull away. Yet if he knows you love him for who he is, not what he provides, he'll open up in ways you've never imagined. Another key part of this, understanding how men show vulnerability. They don't always cry or talk about emotions the way women might. More often, they process pain and pressure in silence. If you truly respect a man, you won't force him to talk before he's ready. You'll give him the space to feel things his way. You'll let him know you're there without demanding explanations. And sometimes, that kind of quiet presence can mean more than 1,000 conversations. These subtle expressions of love, your patience, your trust, your calm understanding tell him, you don't have to be anything more than yourself to be loved here. And often it's in these quiet moments that he realizes he's safe, he's seen, he's respected. But there's still one powerful piece of the puzzle to explore creating emotional safety so he can fully trust in your presence and commitment. When you truly respect a man, you're not just giving him peace, you're sending a quiet yet powerful message. I believe in you. And through that belief, something essential begins to take root, a deep sense of emotional safety. He feels that with you, he doesn't need to perform, pretend, or protect himself all the time. Respect always walks hand in hand with trust. When a man feels respected, he also feels trusted. And that trust tells him you believe in his decisions, in his promises, and most importantly, in the love he gives you. Without that trust, even the deepest affection can fall flat. If a man feels constantly doubted, judged, or second-guessed, he'll slowly begin to retreat. But if he feels that you trust him, it empowers him, it gives him the strength to stay present, to love more openly, and to give from a place of confidence. The more trust he feels from you, the more emotionally available he becomes. So if your goal is to build a lasting relationship, remember this truth. For most men, love is deeply tied to respect. Respect tells him that he matters not just for what he does, but for who he is. It makes him feel safe enough to open up, to share his heart, and to grow by your side. It's not about being flawless when he's around. It's about honoring his presence, trusting his nature, and letting him be completely himself. When respect becomes the foundation, love flows effortlessly. It doesn't need to be pushed. It doesn't rely solely on physical closeness or words. It becomes something deeper, more meaningful, and lasting. Now, when most people think about physical touch in a relationship, they immediately associate it with romance kissing, cuddling, intimacy. And while those things do matter, they don't tell the whole story of how men connect through touch. For many men, touch is more than just physical, it's emotional. It's about feeling safe, feeling seen, feeling close. It's a quiet language, one men often use to express what words cannot. And when you begin to understand this language, your connection with him deepens on a whole new level. Some of the most powerful expressions of touch aren't romantic at all. A light hand on his back after a rough day. A gentle squeeze on his arm when he's feeling anxious. These small gestures silently say, I see you, I'm here. In a world where men often feel pressure to stay strong at all times, these tiny acts give him permission to simply be human. They offer him space to rest not just physically, but emotionally. They remind him that he doesn't have to be tough around you all the time. When you touch a man gently, without any romantic agenda, you show him that your care runs deeper than attraction. You're not with him just for how he looks or what he can give. You love the whole persona, his mind, his heart, his presence. These little touches build trust. They nurture emotional intimacy. They allow him to relax and open up without the fear of being judged. Over time, they become the threads that weave a bond too strong to easily break. Touch also connects deeply to how a man views himself. It affirms his worth. It tells him that he's needed, appreciated, and valued not just for his strength, but for who he is beneath the surface. So, what makes a man feel truly cherished, like he matters beyond what he provides? The answers lie in subtle but powerful ways of showing up for him, and that's exactly where we're headed next. Following our discussion about the quiet power of touch, let's now dive deeper into how small, thoughtful gestures can make a man feel deeply loved. When you reach out to him with kindness and respect, even just a simple, brief touch, it sends a strong message. You are loved, not for what you do, but for who you are. It might be a quick hug, a warm hand resting on his shoulder, or a playful nudge. These tiny actions often speak louder than words. They whisper, "You matter. You're important to me." Physical connection doesn't need to be intense or dramatic to be meaningful. Many men find comfort in the smallest of things: a light brush of your fingers, a gentle hand on his knee while he's deep in thought, or a quiet touch when he's feeling overwhelmed. These simple gestures anchor him. They remind him that no matter how chaotic life feels, he's not alone. When he's stressed, afraid, or uncertain, your touch can be the calm that steadies his world. Even something as silent as holding his hand can say, "We're in this together." What's truly beautiful about this kind of affection is that it doesn't require words. It's not about what you say, it's about what you show through your presence. For a man, knowing that he's loved through both respect and gentle, thoughtful touch builds deep emotional safety. It makes him want to stay, to connect, to open his heart more. He feels seen, heard, supported. And the impact of that support goes far beyond a fleeting romantic moment. A warm hug or a kiss on the cheek can become his quiet anchor during emotional storms, a silent signal that he's not facing life's battles alone, because you're right there beside him. Men also appreciate touch that shows pride and respect, not just care or sympathy. A reassuring pat on the back when he accomplishes something, whether it's completing a tough project or simply surviving a hard day, sends a powerful message that his efforts are noticed, that you admire what he does. These physical gestures affirm his value and remind him that even his smallest actions are meaningful. Most men aren't always looking for big, eloquent compliments. Sometimes a simple hand on his arm, a light touch on his leg, or a gentle kiss on the cheek can say more than words ever could. These little acts communicate respect and love in a quiet, sincere way. Physical closeness can also help dissolve emotional barriers. Many men have been taught from a young age to be strong, independent, and to suppress their feelings. These expectations can make emotional vulnerability feel unsafe or unfamiliar. So how do you reach the heart of a man who's learned to hide his pain? The answer lies in gentle, steady gesture zones that speak without pressure or judgment. That's exactly what we'll explore next. As we continue, it becomes even clearer. Gentle touch, when not driven by romance or desire, can quietly break through the emotional walls many men have been taught to build. Because of how society often conditions men to suppress vulnerability, it can be difficult for them to reveal their softer side. But touch, when it's offered with no expectations, no pressure, has the unique ability to melt that guardedness. It creates space. Space where he can exhale, let go, and just be himself. And in that relaxed space, something powerful happens. Deeper conversations begin to unfold. The emotional intimacy that sometimes struggles to form through words alone can now blossom through presence, connection, and calm physical reassurance. Most men feel safer expressing their emotions when they know they're in a grounded, supportive environment. And the truth is, a gentle, thoughtful touch builds that very safety. It's important to realize that touch carries an energy and unspoken warmth that words can't always capture. A soft touch can ease tension, soothe worry, and help release the silent weight a man carries after a long day. Like anyone else, men need to feel cared for. And physical affection, when given with love and sincerity, is one of the most direct and impactful ways to show that care. Whether it's the soft caress of your hand against his cheek, a lingering hug that says, "You're safe here," or simply a kind touch on the arm while he's deep in thought, these moments say what words sometimes can't. They say, "I see you, I respect you, and I love you, not just with my words, but with my presence." And it's not the grand gestures that mean the most, it's the small, consistent ones. A quick kiss before he walks out the door. The gentle weight of your hand on his knee during a movie. Fingers intertwined while strolling down the street. These tiny acts may seem ordinary, but over time, they build a strong emotional foundation. They remind you both that love is more than shared goals or deep conversations. It's also felt through shared space and simple presence. For many men, it's these little daily touches that weave a deep sense of trust and safety. It's not only the big, intimate moments that strengthen love, but also the repeated, quiet affirmations that say, "I'm here and I choose you every day." Even though men are often proud of being independent and strong, they still long to feel appreciated in ways that aren't just physical or sexual. They want to be loved, not for what they do or how they look, but for who they truly are when they're not performing, not striving, just being. That's why these gentle, sincere touches matter so much. In the end, physical affection becomes more than closeness. It becomes comfort, understanding, assurance. Whether it's a casual brush of the hand, a warm hug after a long day, or simply placing your hand gently on his shoulder reach, one carries a message that reaches beyond skin. It tells him, "You matter, you're not alone, you're deeply loved." And when you truly understand how powerful this kind of love can be, especially to a man who's been taught to hide his emotions, you're ready to discover the final and most lasting form of connection. After everything we've explored, one truth becomes clear. Through small, thoughtful, physical gestures, you create a space where a man feels not only loved, but also valued and deeply safe. These consistent, everyday actions don't just feel good, they quietly build a bridge between hearts. They draw you closer. They allow him to feel truly seen. And it's often through this subtle language of touch that love doesn't just survive, it strengthens and endures. But emotional intimacy doesn't stop at touch. Another powerful element in a lasting connection is allowing a man to lead with trust and presence. This isn't about handing over power or stepping into silence. It's about creating balance, say a space where both of you contribute with strength, intention, and care. Many men feel a deep inner drive to lead, protect, and support the people they love. This desire is more than habit, it's closely tied to their identity and how they define their purpose in a relationship. So when you allow him the space to lead, you're not giving up control. You're showing that you believe in him and his ability to make decisions in his strengths and in the value he brings. But here's the nuance. Letting a man lead doesn't mean becoming passive or suppressing your own voice. A healthy relationship thrives when both partners bring their ideas, energy, and support into every conversation and every decision. When you let a man lead, it simply means you offer him opportunities to take initiative in shared responsibilities like planning a trip, managing finances, or setting goals for the future. Men often feel proud and empowered when they're trusted to take charge. That sense of freedom matched with responsibility helps affirm his confidence and deepens his sense of identity in the relationship. And again, it's not about placing more burden on him, it's about inviting him to lead in a way that feels supported, not pressured. When he steps into that role, your presence still matters deeply. Your encouragement, your insight, your feedback, all of it is essential. Because at the heart of this kind of relationship is something that can't be faked: trust. Without trust, his leadership feels shaky, it lacks foundation. And if you can't support his decisions or hold space for his efforts, the result can be frustration or worse, growing distance. Of course, it's completely natural to have concerns or disagreements. In fact, it's healthy. What matters is how you share them with respect, with warmth, and with the intent to build rather than tear down. Trust doesn't mean blind surrender. It means believing in his ability to let even when your views aren't perfectly aligned. That belief becomes the groundwork for something equally vital: participation. Letting him lead does not mean stepping away from the conversation or fading into the background. A strong, loving relationship is built on shared presence and a constant back and forth of listening, sharing, and understanding. Your voice, your perspective, your wisdom, they are not just valid, they are necessary to the shared future you're building together. The most effective way to keep this balance is by expressing yourself with kindness and clarity. Speak up in a way that supports his leadership rather than undermines it. When you share your thoughts with care, when you speak with love instead of criticism, you create a partnership where both leadership and connection can thrive. And from this harmony between leadership and participation, we arrive at one final element, something essential for lasting love: emotional encouragement. Let's explore how your belief in him can shape not just your relationship, but the man he becomes. As mentioned earlier, allowing him to lead doesn't mean stepping back or becoming silent. It means participating with presence, contributing your thoughts, and building a shared vision for your future. But what does this look like in everyday life, especially when facing important decisions together? Imagine the two of you are weighing a big choice. In moments like that, it's crucial to express your perspective clearly while also maintaining kindness and respect. Instead of saying, "I don't like that idea," or "that won't work," try something like, "I see where you're coming from, but would you be open to exploring another option with me? I think it might be a better fit for us, and here's why." By framing your thoughts this way, he still feels honored in his leadership role, while you're clearly showing up with thoughtful, engaged communication. That kind of balance is what helps love and mutual respect grow stronger. Many men truly value when their partner not only supports, but also contributes with intelligent, tactful suggestions. It shows you're not distant or detached, you're invested, present, and working with him, not just beside him. It tells him your love is not silent or passive, it's full, alive, and grounded in deep care. And there's another important layer to this idea of letting him lead. Leadership in a loving relationship isn't about control, it's about partnership. It's easy to assume that leading means making every decision, but in reality, true leadership in love is recognizing strengths in both sides and knowing when to step forward and when to step back. If he has a particular strength, maybe he's great with finances, or planning, or organizing. It's wise and loving to allow him to take the lead in those areas. That doesn't mean your voice disappears. Quite the opposite. Your contributions matter just as much. When you give him the space to lead and still share your insight and intuition, you're offering the greatest gift of all: trust paired with presence. Your voice, your thoughts, your feelings, they are not just welcome, they are vital. Men feel strongest when they know they are trusted. And when you create space for them to step into that role, they do so with sincerity and responsibility. At the same time, when you offer your thoughts gently, with love and clarity, it draws the two of you even closer. Because now, you're not just a couple, you're a team. A healthy relationship isn't one where one person commands and the other follows. It's a space where both lead, both support, and both evolve together. It's where every voice is heard, where every strength is honored, and where love is built not just on grand gestures, but on small, daily acts of unity. And when two hearts learn to move in harmony like that, love becomes more than emotion, becomes a foundation, a home. But what helps keep that bond strong over time? That's what we'll explore in the next part. As we've seen, letting a man lead isn't just about tasks or decisions, it's about creating a space of trust where both people feel empowered. Now, let's go deeper into what leadership truly means in a loving relationship. True leadership in love isn't measured by how many decisions someone makes, it's about setting the emotional tone. Many men lead not by commanding, but by offering emotional steadiness, a calming presence, and a sense of protection. When a man feels trusted to guide the relationship in a way that reflects both your shared values, he naturally becomes more devoted to making it flourish. His commitment isn't limited to plans or responsibilities, it shows up in the emotional climate he helps create. When he knows you trust him, and when he feels your belief in his role, he will rise to the occasion. He will bring a quiet confidence into the relationship that becomes a foundation of emotional peace and strength. But there's one ingredient that often gets overlooked, something simple yet deeply powerful: gratitude. When he leads in a way that uplifts the relationship, even in small ways, noticing and appreciating those moments makes a difference. You don't need to shower him with constant praise, but when his actions genuinely help bring strength, clarity, or stability, let him know you see it. Gratitude doesn't just affirm what he's done, it fuels what he'll continue to do. It tells him what you give matters. It lets him know that his presence, his care, and his effort aren't taken for granted. And over time, this mutual appreciation deepens the respect between you, reinforces the truth that you're building something together. This is the heart of healthy love, giving him room to lead while still expressing your own voice fully. Because in a balanced relationship, both partners feel equally heard, seen, and safe. His leadership creates space for him to express his strength. But your contributions, your thoughts, your insights bring depth, clarity, and collaboration. A strong relationship isn't built on silence or control, it's built on mutual trust and real teamwork. When both of you feel capable of showing up as your authentic self-equal, respected, and valued, that's when love becomes truly sustainable. And when you let him lead while keeping your voice present, you help build a foundation where communication is honest, goals are shared, and connection runs deep. Now, let's shift into something that's often misunderstood: the nature of affection. Affection in a real relationship isn't just a fleeting emotion or a few romantic words whispered in passing. It's a choice, a daily action. It's seen in the way someone consistently shows care, not only in grand gestures, but in small, meaningful behavior. For men especially, affection needs to feel tangible through actions that reflect love, loyalty, and emotional security. Yes, feelings matter, but actions speak just as loudly, if not louder. Affection at its core isn't something you just feel, it's something you do again and again in real, visible ways. So where does this idea of active affection come from? And how can you express love in a way that speaks deeply to the heart of the man you care about? That's exactly what we'll explore next. As we explored earlier, real affection isn't just a feeling, it's a living, breathing choice. Now, let's talk about how affection becomes truly powerful when it's expressed through actions, especially in the everyday and imperfect moments. At the core, we all share a basic human need to feel connected and valued. A man, like anyone else, wants to know that he's loved not only when things are good, but also when life is messy, uncertain, or simply ordinary. The words "I love you" are beautiful, no doubt. But what truly builds emotional security is when love is shown through how you act, especially when it's inconvenient or unexpected. Affection through action goes beyond words. It proves that your care is steady and reliable. It's saying through consistent behavior, "I'm here, I see you, I still choose you." And one of the most powerful ways to express this kind of affection: physical touch. For many men, affection feels most tangible through touch. A soft hug when he walks through the door, a light kiss on his forehead, a gentle hand resting on his shoulder. Even the simple act of holding hands while walking together, these quiet gestures speak volumes. They bring more than physical closeness, they carry emotional meaning. They offer comfort when words fall short. They whisper safety, presence, and warmth, and know they don't need to be dramatic or cinematic. These are the small, everyday expressions that say, "You matter, I love you, I'm here with you." Without saying a single word, these touches deepen connection and build trust. But affection in action doesn't stop there. It also means being emotionally present. Not just showing up physically, but tuning in mentally and emotionally. Being there not only in the good times, but especially in the hard ones. Because let's face it, real love shows up strongest when life gets tough. When he's under pressure, when he's dealing with setbacks at work, or when personal struggles weigh him down, he needs more than reassurance. He needs presence. And that presence doesn't always mean fixing anything. It often means simply being there. Sitting beside him without judgment, making his favorite dish after a long day, holding his hand in silence when he's too exhausted to speak. These small, caring acts are like anchors. They say, "You're not alone. I'm not going anywhere." And those moments, they can mean everything. True affection isn't reserved for special occasions. It shows up in how you help keep the relationship strong, in how you show up even when you're tired, busy, or uncertain yourself. You can't expect love to thrive without intention. Maintaining emotional connection requires consistent effort. That means planning time together, sending him a kind message out of the blue, leaving a thoughtful note, doing a small favor, remembering a detail he casually mentioned and acting on it. Standing by his side as he works toward a goal. These gestures may seem simple, but their emotional impact runs deep. They say, "I see you. I care. I'm invested in your happiness, not just my own." And perhaps most importantly, being affectionate through action means prioritizing his emotional well-being. Because just like women, men need emotional care, support, and softness too. So how can you show up for him in the moments that truly matter, not just when love is easy, but when it's needed most? That's what we'll explore in our final part. As we've seen, true affection is more than just kind words. It's about being present, patient, and emotionally tuned in, especially when he's going through something. Saying the right thing can help, but what really matters is how you show up for him with calm, with care, with genuine attentiveness. If he's feeling low, frustrated, or emotionally withdrawn, what speaks loudest is your quiet presence. Maybe it means sitting next to him in silence, simply being there without pressure. Or maybe it means gently encouraging him with words that uplift without trying to fix everything. Sometimes it's lending a helping hand with something practical, reminding him through actions that you're in this together. When a man feels that his inner world matters to you, something profound happens. She begins to trust you more deeply. He feels safe. He feels seen. And more importantly, he feels love not just in passing, but in a way that leaves a lasting emotional imprint. One of the most common challenges in modern relationships is emotional drift. As time goes on and the initial excitement fades, it's easy to fall into comfort zones where love becomes assumed and affection becomes silent. But this, ironically, is the exact moment when affection becomes most essential. Because once the thrill of the new fades, what keeps love alive is consistency. It's the small gestures done with sincerity that hold the relationship together. That might be thanking him for his efforts, surprising him with something thoughtful, or simply listening with genuine attention when he opens up. These everyday efforts say, "I still choose you." They quietly affirm that even with time, your love hasn't settled, it's still growing. Affection doesn't always need to be big or dramatic. Sometimes it's making his favorite coffee in the morning. Sometimes it's texting him during a busy day to say, "I'm thinking of you." Or it's leaving a kind note where he'll find it, just to remind him that he's appreciated. These small moments carry deep emotional weight. They are like roots, reliable, grounding, and powerful. When done with consistency, they become the foundation that keeps love stable through storms, seasons, and silence. Another powerful expression of affection is emotional safety. A man needs to know that your care is dependable enough just based on moods or moments, but something he can trust. This means being kind, even in tense situations, offering reassurance when he feels unsure, and reminding him, through both words and action, that you're there for him always. That kind of love brings peace. It brings emotional security. And in that space, a man can truly open up. He can give more of himself, knowing that the love he's receiving is steady and sincere. When you treat affection as something you do, rather than just something you feel, it transforms your relationship. It brings a depth of emotional satisfaction that words alone can't reach. Because love that's only felt can fade, but love that's lived becomes a daily presence. It keeps the bond fresh. It keeps connection alive. It shows both of you that your love is nurtured with care, with attention, and with real effort. To put it simply, affection shouldn't be viewed as just a fleeting feeling or a quick spark of romance. It needs to be visible, real, and repeated through intentional action. For a man, love is felt most deeply when it's steady, when it's wrapped in kind behavior, thoughtful gestures, emotional presence, and unwavering support. Through gentle touches, acts of service, consistent words, and simply being there, you create a kind of love that's not only felt, but trusted. This is the love that strengthens the relationship, deepens emotional intimacy, and reminds both people every single day that they are truly loved and deeply valued. And in the end, what you do with your love is what leaves the most powerful mark. Last message